What would you do if your friend sent a copy of TF2 to you and you played it? Well, this is the story of TF2coolzgamer, in which he downloaded a copy of TF2 from his friend, but something is wrong with it. I'll explain the ARG in today's video now. Starting off, we see him explain the story a little bit, saying that he downloaded a illegal copy of Team Fortress 2 from his friend and says when he played it something scary had happened, but however he recorded the footage in which I will share to you guys and explain it. So yeah, starting the video we see that there is no other players in the server and that it's just him while the map and the camera is glitching. I tried to pause at every moment that the map was transparent, but I couldn't seem to find anything secret in there. If you did see anything, please tell me in the comments because I'm not greatly sharp-sighted. So anyways, moving on, before he comes across the entity the game resets itself back 3 seconds earlier. My theory is that there is 2 different dimensions that exists when you're close to it. Seeing that before the rewind that the entity wasn't there, however after the rewind the entity appeared, making me think that the entity trapped him in his dimension so he could attack him. The rest, as you all have seen, is a chase scene and a close-up of the entity. The entity seems to have 4 classes merged with it and has stretchy hands. After the chase the recording briefly ends and that he has somehow made it out, though we don't know how he did it. Also, I want to mention the fact that the entity looks a little like the server blight, so if I happen to have any theories without information that's not included, I'll try to get info from there. Moving on to the second video of the series, we see that he had gotten gifted a real version of Team Fortress 2, but when he played it, the same thing happened again. In the recording, the game looks heavily distorted and there's not much else out to make, however the explosion effect had changed. My theory for this is that the entity is a virus of some sort and can infect other games and is the reason for these changes. After he goes to the intelligence and sees the entity, he kills the entity and the entity says you should hide. This tells us that the entity can be in fact killed and angered. I also wanna say that before the "you should hide" sentence, it says Owen or ow. I couldn't really make that out. However, if it did say Owen, this means that the entity is in fact able to access your information. After he kills the entity, he goes back to where the entity was and see it trying to climb back up. After 20 seconds of aimlessly wandering, he decides to jump to where the entity is and the recording ends. In the second recording, we see him play on turbine and wander around the map as him being the only person again. When he came to Red's intel, the rewind happened again, and the entity is there. However, this time we see that the bullets aren't doing anything to the entity, possibly seeing that its only vulnerability is rockets, or it has learned and coded itself immortality. So now, that's the end of all the videos. I want to throw in a little bit of my theories. My first theory is that it's possibly was made to scare off people as an anti-piracy thing, however it got sentient over time and learned to infect other games and take its job a lot more serious. My second theory is that maybe our person have done something very bad and this is a way of him receiving judgment. However, I think this theory is the least likely out of all the other ones I said. My third and final theory is that it yearns for control and power just like the server blight, though not much evidence yet to back that up. Anyways, that's all for this video. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this, and I will upload again once a new video comes out in these series. Goodbye.